on confirmation. And we're live. Welcome, everyone. This is the second installment. I'm back with Alistair. This is Top 10 Axis Theatre Selectors. Say hi,
Yes.
Alistair.
Hello, welcome. I'm very happy to be back with you, Bo. Yeah, as you said, this is the second part of our trilogy. In my head, I think I called it The Empire Strikes Back. But
Yeah, yeah. I don't think we're
yeah,
as big as Star Wars, though.
not yet, not yet. You're working on it. But yeah, as you said, so this time we're going to have a crack at the top 10 best Axis
We
theatre
are.
selectors.
And some of the ones that we got a hold of here, um, they were a surprise to me. I went over all the German ones. Alistair did most of the legwork for the Italians and the Japanese, and some of these they were surprisingly good. If you want to go back and watch our review of the top 10 allies, I'll include a link in the description for this video. And at some point, Alistair, we're going to talk again because we have
Yes.
honorable mentions. There was such a plethora of really good selectors, so there's a lot that we could have actually included here.
Yeah, so that'll be in episode 3. It'll be a roundup of
It would,
both Axis and
yeah,
Allies theatre
yeah,
selectors, and we won't put them in any order. We'll just present them
yeah.
as they are.
As
But but even episode 3 will be
it would,
worth a good watch as well.
it would, because many of these selectors, if you go to an event where you're bringing a theatre selector, I think many of the ones that we are pointing out to you today, if played correctly, can win events. Basically, they're
Yep.
really good. Right, I will share my screen because as of we did last time, I've made a PowerPoint and we're going to watch that. So, and my PowerPoint is here, and let's just go from the start.
We're not going to do the disclaimers first, Bo.
We are going to do the disclaimers
Oh
first.
yeah.
Top 10 Access Theatres. Right. The disclaimers, as always, will argue our case, but ultimately, we're just two blokes on the internet. What do we know? It's all subjective, right? Um, we do have a lot of experience between us. Alistair, you've been the captain of the Scottish WTC team, and you're the TO of Megatron 3000, which is the first major event to run all theatre selectors.
Yeah, I mean there was a lot of strong interest in the first year and moving
Yeah,
forward in subsequent years, and what it was an experiment in the Scottish community to have it only theatre selector only and only
yeah,
from the campaign books. And what that did for myself and the community around me was that it increased our knowledge of what theatre selectors could do and how they played,
mm,
and it dispelled a lot of the myths about them, that they were too powerful or too weak, or
yeah.
we always had to play generic platoons. So I think it was a catalyst and a step to seeing theatre selectors being used
Mm,
a lot more and being accepted a lot
yeah,
more.
yeah. And now we're seeing many tournaments, including theatre selectors, and many tournaments running only theatre selectors, which is becoming very interesting. Like only like a week ago, I got a message from the Spanish, and they are running their Madrid championship theatres only at 1,000 points, and that's an 80-man tournament. I'll
Yep.
do a video on that at some point as well because oh god, I want to go. I'm not sure I have the money, but damn, I want to go. 80 players, and a lot of the top European players are of course joining that.
Yep.
Right. We'll also have to say that our basis for what we're doing with the list here is we're setting ourselves 1250 as a points cap, and we have no dice cap for what we have here. So we're not like limiting ourselves. We have quite a lot of points to deal with in when we sort of look at each selector, thinking about what would we want for this. Well, sometimes you're limited by points. We are not. 1250, we have points enough for everything we want. There are no real restrictions, no single flamethrower, no single multi-rocket launcher, all of that out the window. Just use the theater selectors as are. Single platoon only, though. And then, Alistair, this one is yours.
Yeah, this disclaimer I wanted to drop in specifically for the Axis top 10. When myself and Bo were researching this, the margins are so fine between a lot of the selectors that there was, you know, getting the standout selectors was quite tough, and there was a lot of backwards and forwards conversation between myself and Bo. And I said, look, we could discuss this for days, and we might
Yep.
not ever get it right.
No.
We are confident in our top 10, but the order could shuffle around. But I am confident in our number one.
Yep. Number one should be good. That is definitely, we agree both on that. That
Yeah.
is definitely our number one.
Yeah.
The rest could be shuffled, depending again on play style and what you actually feel like is the biggest benefit, because most of them have real substantial benefits. Some of them in the rules, some of them in the units that you can take.
But
Um,
one thing as well is that the allies, their theatre selectors looked so strong,
they
and
did
I always thought that going into the Axis selectors that they would be noticeably weaker. That was not the case.
not the
The
case at all.
No,
Nope.
the Axis theatre selectors can stand up to the Allies quite easily,
Yep.
and I should always remember that the winner of the very first Megatron 3000 was an Axis theatre selector.
Yep. Are you going to drop it once we get to it? Is it in the list?
I don't think it made the list, but we'll see.
Okay.
We will see. It might be in
Anyways,
episode 3.
yeah, it might be in episode 3. Okay, cool. So without further ado, we go to number 10, which is the Panzer Recon Platoon from Fortress Budapest, page 138. And
Fortress
as per
Budapest.
usual, Alistair has the book right there for us.
We do
Talk us
love a
through
good
it.
book.
We do. Talk
So
us through
Panzer
it.
Recon. So the obligatory requirements: one second or first lieutenant, and 2 Panzer Grenadier squads. Additional units: 0 to 1 captain or major, 0 to 1 medic, or 0 to 1 forward observer, either artillery or air. Infantry: 0 to 5 infantry squads. So that means you're going to have at least 7 infantry. You could have 7 infantry squads here, but 0 to 5. So Panzer Grenadier squads, Kratschützen squads. So only 2 choices. So they're
Mm,
very limited. 0 to
yeah,
1 MMG team, 0 to 1 mortar team, only medium or heavy though. 0 to 1 sniper team, and 0 to 1 anti tank Panzerschreck team. Armored cars, 0 to 2. Now, there's a lot going on in here, but the SDKF 231 heavy armored car, 8 rad, the 250/9, the 251/23 half track, Panzer II Lush is in there, Kubelwagen and Schwimmwagen with the MMG upgrades also in there.
yeah,
Tanks, 0 to 1. So Panther and Panzer IV, Jagdpanther, Jagdpanzer, Stug 3, GH, Stug 4, Stu 42, Jagdpanzer 4, Hetzer, Wirbelwind. There's the SDKF 7/2 armored cab, the drilling, flak panzer, Stummel, and a mortar carrier. All very late war, as
yeah.
you would
Very,
expect.
very late war, and maybe not the best choices.
Yeah, and there's expense there, but
Yeah,
again, transport and tows: 0 to 1 transport per infantry unit in the reinforced platoon. Uh, so it all feels limited.
it does.
Special rules.
Yeah,
So motorized infantry. The Panzer Reconnaissance Platoon must include enough transport vehicles or tows, either soft-skinned or armored, to transport all its infantry vehicles. So technically, it counts. No,
it
it
could
doesn't count.
count as an armored platoon, couldn't it?
It
Couldn't
could
it?
it could count as an armored platoon because all the infantry units have to be zipped up in a transport.
Yeah,
But then again, it's not carrying a tank as an HQ. So I would say it's not an armored platoon
yeah.
in
Well,
my
it
view.
depends on your definition of what is an armored platoon. For me, it's when you have a vehicle as the command. vehicle instead of a lieutenant. But I
Yes.
know that some other people play it as when you have to have your infantry mounted in vehicles. Um, so it really depends.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, there are more
Um,
special rules, aren't there?
there are. Yep. Reconnaissance platoon. So these guys are experts in their craft. Any 251 half-track Kubo wagon or Schwimmwagen transport vehicle in the platoon can gain Recce for plus 10 points per vehicle.
Ding.
So
Yes,
it
please.
gives you some safety.
Yep.
The key for me, though, is armoured assault.
Yep.
Panzer divisions mount their best men in armoured half-tracks to keep pace with tanks. They're commanded by veterans of many battles, east and front, etc., etc. Officers in this platoon may use the U-Men snap to action rule to issue orders to friendly units within command range, even if they're inside a transport. Orders may be issued to the vehicle. Sorry, orders may be issued to the transport unit, any unit also within the vehicle, or to any unit within command range of the officer. To work out the officer's command range, measure from the vehicle that he's been transported in. Before you jump in for commentary, Bo, I cross-checked with the author of the book,
Yeah.
Brian Cook, and the officer can issue orders in and out of vehicles.
That
So
is
if
what I was, because that really it breaks one of the rules of the game that
eh,
officers once they're in vehicles can only uh, use their morale and nothing else, and it's
yeah,
even in the rule book. But it does so in a really clever and an interesting way, because this is not an overpowered list. It doesn't have the engineers, the flamethrowers, all of that, where you could sort of benefit from having that snap to and then just unloading 2 engineer units or whatever. But it's still relatively powerful, but not game-changingly powerful. I really like that special rule. Um,
I see it as being quite powerful. I have used
yeah,
this selector
yeah.
a lot.
But you are more of a Snap 2 person than I am, I guess, right?
Yeah, this is where a lot of players who see an officer as a tax
Yeah,
don't understand
yeah,
what this is, and in its most basic concept, if you've got a truck,
mm,
and I run this with a first lieutenant, so that when he snaps to action, it is 3 order dice.
yeah,
So when you've got a truck that's got 2 units of Panzer Grenadiers in it, and the truck itself, you snap
mm.
to action, advance with the truck, and then advance with both the Panzer Grenadier units who have got Panzerfausts.
And
So,
unload. Yeah,
and so the truck moves forward, fires its medium machine gun, puts some pins, maybe kills 1 or 2 infantry units. Then each infantry unit within that truck gets out and does more damage. It
yeah,
is like launching a missile at your
yeah.
opponent to target their armored vehicles
And
with multiple
especially if they've
Panzerfausts.
clumped them up with some infantry protecting their armor, right? Because you can hit
Yeah.
everything in that one go. So I can definitely see. I am not a Snap 2 player myself. I do view officers as attacks most of the time, but I can see this being really powerful if you can set it up right.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. And in the same way as well with the 2 armored cars,
yeah,
you can do a good snap to action with like a smaller truck, like a smaller transport
yeah,
with multiple units inside, but also send a tank up
yeah,
to assist them as
yeah,
well. And you do it all in stages so that perhaps the tank will go up first, do some weapons fire, then the truck goes up. It
mm,
can gain cover from the tank, and then the
yeah,
infantry can get out, and then you've created this
yeah,
little fortress
yeah,
that's moving ahead. And if you feel lucky with your order dice, you can have another unit in that truck that you haven't issued a snap to action. But if
yeah.
the next dice comes out, and again
Can
that's for
shoot
you,
you again. Yeah,
it's a selector that takes a skill to use. I mean, I'm
yeah,
not
and
saying I've not won tournaments or anything with it, but it's an exceptionally strong tool if your opponent,
yeah.
hasn't protected themselves well.
And it's a strong tactical choice. It's one where it encourages a good tactical play, basically, because
Yeah,
it's not a platoon where you get a lot of. I mean, we talked about this already. It lacks flamers. It has a very limited infantry selection, But I would say one thing that it's really got well. Those double armored cars, they are
Hmm.
really good. The 250/9 or the Panzer II Lux, well, both of them are really good armored cars.
Yep.
And you can get recce on all the Hanomaks. That's not nothing. That's pretty good, because that means that you can make sort of an armored platoon that can sit and move back and forth through cover and just wait for the right moment to pounce.
Yep.
And you get quite a lot of access to Panzerfausts, don't you, with this
Yeah.
selector? So I really like it. It's not a selector that I would feel comfortable running unless I had trained with it quite a lot. But
You need the practice, and you need to know
yeah,
the timing and your
yeah,
positioning
yeah,
of the officer, the required transport.
yeah.
It's high risk stuff. It's high risk stuff, especially. I mean, the other one as well is if you've got the officer in the transport, so that he's also going up, because obviously you
Mm,
can issue himself an order, and
yeah.
then with the first lieutenant, you get the 3 extra dice for the German officer. So he issues himself in advance, the truck in advance, the 2 squads around him in advance, and then it just all
Blah.
spits forward.
Yeah, and that's 4 pins and 4 Panzerfausts going off every which way.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep. Amazing. I mean, I thoroughly enjoy it. But again,
yeah,
it's at number 10
yeah,
simply for, as you've said, straightforwardly, the limitations.
yeah.
And
There are
one
limitations. Yeah.
one one pioneer squad in this would just make it
Oh,
so much better.
that would make it better.
Oh
Or
yeah.
just a flamer team. Even that.
Yeah, a simple flamer team.
Yep.
Good.
Right. Number 9 is the Assault Artillery Battery from Fortress Budapest. Lots of good stuff in Fortress Budapest. It's on page 145.
Yep.
And this is a Hungarian one. I don't think many people expected us to bring up Hungarian theatre selectors here.
No. And I didn't expect to do it either,
But
uh,
you
but
can
here we
really build
are.
some interesting stuff with this one.
Yep. So Hungarian assault battery. It's a tank platoon,
Yeah.
but we'll get to that in a minute. So one command vehicle. I cannot pronounce it, but it's the 43M Zarini 2.
Serini. Yeah. Let's say Serini. If
Yeah, we'll go
anyone
with it.
speaks
If
Hungarian, please
yeah,
correct us.
if our Hungarian brothers are out there, we do apologise.
Yeah.
A Hetzer or a Stug 3 G, and then the 2 compulsory vehicles, exactly the same choices: the Zarini, the Hetzer, or the Stug.
Yeah.
Then you can have an additional 0 to 2 of the same again. So the Zarini, the Hetzer, or the Stug G. Headquarters is a first or second lieutenant, 0 to 1, 0 to 1 medic team, and 0 to 1 observer, artillery only. Infantry, 0 to 3 infantry squads. The experienced Honved division, is that?
Honved. I
Honved?
think I
Thank
think
you.
it's Honved, but I'm not sure. Again, Hungarian.
You're geographically closer to them. I thought it might help.
True, but not in language.
I'll go with Honved division section, assault pioneer section.
Mm,
Good guys, or the replacement Honved division section. 0 to 1 MMG teams, 0 to 1 mortar, light or medium only. 0 to 1 sniper, 0 to 1 anti-tank team. You've got the Panzerschreck team, anti-tank rifle, or the 44mm rocket launcher. Then you've got artillery, 0 to 1. It's actually quite limited. It's the Pack 40
yeah.
light artillery or the 40mm Bofors gun. Transport is 0 to 1 transport tows per infantry or artillery unit in the reinforced platoon, and it's just generic truck or artillery tractor. Special rules: motivated elite. When an assault gun vehicle or artillery or anti-tank gun artillery unit in this platoon successfully passes an order check, they remove D2 pins instead of just 1, which is not
That's good.
not
That's
terrible.
Yep.
And then infantry support role. Transport vehicles are not compulsory for the infantry units in this force.
Ding 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 ding.
So,
Right.
by
For
that
me,
rationale, it's
yeah.
not a tank platoon.
It is not by some rationale anyway. And for
Yes.
me, this is a really interesting one because you can build a sort of a leaf blower build with lots of Serini self-propelled howitzers. just sitting on your back line and pumping out howitzer shots. And at the same time, you don't need to have your infantry mounted up, so they can stay in front of your guns, protecting them from the enemy. 5 howitzers tank-ish, right?
Mhm.
That's not nothing. That is definitely not nothing. It is very mono-build though, very mono-build, and you're very
Yes.
limited in your choices. But I mean, what is the enemy going to do? Drive up against you? Then you have regular pioneers ready to go.
Yep.
And the Honwits are not bad infantry at all. Whew, yeah,
Yeah. As you said, it's a very mono build, but I like the look of it.
yeah,
This is one of those moments where we could have talked for days about number 9 and number 10
yeah,
switching backwards and forwards,
yeah,
down to play style. I mean, I would,
yeah.
if I had both collections, I would struggle to split the two, based on what they can do. So no, and the motivated elite shedding D2 pins
Yep.
on your tanks as they're moving.
Yeah,
That can only
uh,
be a good thing.
yeah, you can.
Yep.
Can you check for me one thing? The Serini, what armor value is it? Because
Whoa, now
I do remember that you can shoot it as both a howitzer and as an AT gun, so it's like one of those
what is it you wanted
versatile.
to know?
The armor value of the Serini,
It's a 9 plus.
9 plus,
100
and
180 points regular, 9
yeah,
plus,
yeah,
forward mounted medium howitzer.
yeah,
And then you can add some upgrades to it, but you
yeah.
wouldn't bother.
No, you wouldn't bother. But a close topped howitzer with a 9 plus. Yeah, that's
Yep.
really interesting, and especially because you can have so many of them in the platoon. And if we're
Yeah.
running 1250, we can take 5 of these and still have points left over for infantry.
Yep. Points left over for the 3 engineer squads.
Oh yeah, and maybe a few cheap trucks as well. Right, that was
Wicked.
number 9. Let's go to number 8, which is the 116th Panzer Division. That is in the D-Day US sector book, page
I folded my
112.
corner down. Terrible. D-Day US
No,
sector.
don't break your book.
112.
112. This is a German, of course, Panzer Division book, and it has some really interesting special rules, which I guess you'll come to in a minute, Alistair.
I think we've got the wrong page reference.
Oh no,
Oh
you
no!
you gave me the page
I
reference.
did give you the page reference.
Yeah, I didn't
Page
check it, which is
page 101.
101. Okay.
Sorry, everybody. That's bad for me
Yep.
and my
It is.
communication, but page 101. So 116th Panzer Division. Okay, so 116th Panzer Division, Panzer Grenadier Reinforced Platoon, page 101. Ignore wherever it is on the screen. So primary options, first lieutenant or second lieutenant, 0 to 1, and 2 infantry squads, here grenadier squads, or here veteran grenadier squads. Additional HQ, 0 to 1 captain or major, 0 to 1 observer, 0 to 1 medic, and then 0 to 1 forward observer, artillery or air. I've never noticed that's odd. What's an observer if it's not artillery or air
I
already?
do not know.
We'll carry on regardless.
Yeah.
Infantry, 0 to 4 infantry squads. Here Grenadier, here Veteran Grenadier or Waffen SS squads late war. 0 to 1 medium machine gun, 0 to 1 medium mortar only. 0 to 2 Panzerschreck teams. 0 to 1 artillery pieces. So light or medium artillery or a Nebelwerfer. Anti-aircraft gun, the 20mm flak Vierling 38, or anti-tank gun 75mm Pak 40. Armored car 0 to 1. You're looking for the BMW motorbike with sidecar.
Yes.
And then it's the SD KFZ, the 222, or the 2341, or the 234/3, or the 250/9, or the 250/10, or the 250/11. Oh, Germany.
I'll take the 250/9 or the motorcycles, I think.
Yeah. Why didn't
Yeah.
you name them better? Anyway, we'll continue on though. Goddamn Germany.
Yeah.
Tanks and tank destroyers and the like, 0 to 2.
Hmm?
So you've got Panzer II, Flampanzer, Panzer IV, Panther, Stug 3, Stug 4, Stu 42, Marder 3, Jagdpanzer, Jagdpanther, Flampanzerwagen, Grill, Wesp, Hummel, SD KFZ 251/2, 250/7, Panzerwerfer 42, 251/9 Stummel, Stuka-Zafus, Opel Blitz with Flak 38, the SDKFZ with Flak 38,
Mm.
the mobile wagon, the Wirbelwind, Flak Panzer, like an absolute menu. I love it. Transports, transport vehicles per infantry unit in the reinforced platoon. The SD KFZ 10, SD KFZ 7, truck, multi or Kubo wagon, Schwimm wagon, 251/1, 250/1, and the 251/10. Germany, you're killing me.
Yeah.
um,
Anyways, what is it
yes,
that really makes this list,
let's
Alistair?
let's let's do the special rules.
Yeah.
There's a whole toe section as well.
Yeah, but
Just
it's the same. Yeah.
accept it. It's got the Kettenkrad and the horse limber,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
so it's worth knowing those. Panzer Elite.
Mm.
So these guys are defending Normandy. So no unit in this selector may be inexperienced. No unit. Motorized division. Enough transport and or tows must be included for all infantry and artillery units in this platoon. Non-SS units gain the following special rule. This unit can reroll any failed order test that is required to mount or dismount a transport vehicle. That's
Okay.
very similar
Yeah.
to the Panzer Grenadier rules from
It is.
Fortress Budapest.
It is.
SS support. Any infantry or artillery unit may be upgraded to Fanatics for +3 point per man. If this option is taken, the unit counts as an SS unit for the purpose of the Motorized Division Special Rule. And Hedgerow Ambush.
Yeah.
Yeah, any infantry squad or HQ unit may be upgraded for +3 points per man. Any medium machine gun, Panzerschreck team, or anti-tank gun may be upgraded for +10 points. This is a cut paste thing, but inexperienced units may not be upgraded to
Yeah.
Hedgerow
Yeah.
Ambush,
That
but there are
that
no inexperienced units in this
no,
selector.
it can't be.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a copy paste.
Yeah. No unit with a flamethrower may be given this rules. So, but units with this rule may deploy in the same manner as observers and snipers. However, they must be deployed in cover. In
Yep.
addition, the unit starts any game hidden and may elect to start the game in ambush.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine putting down your Panzer Grenadiers with Panzerfaust right 12 inches in front of the enemy's armored vehicles.
Yeah.
Isn't that lovely? Isn't the thought just it makes it tingle all the way down my back.
Yeah.
It's really good. I don't think you should because you can here. You can buy upgrade for you can buy the upgrade for your entire army. I don't think that's what you should do though. But just one unit with Panzerfausts. Oh, that would be good.
You mentioned the Panzerfaust and you're not wrong. Oh, sorry, you are wrong. That's
I
a
am.
horrible thing to say. Well, if you're forward deploying, you can't deploy within 12 inches of an enemy unit,
True.
and Panzerfausts are at long range at 12.
True.
So this is for
So
Panzerschreck.
you had to deploy 13 inches?
Yeah, 12.1, but it's, yeah, you know
But
what I'm saying.
it'll still lock down that armored vehicle, right?
It will, but you would be paying a premium because it's +3
Yeah.
points per man.
Well, that's why I
Whereas,
wouldn't want to do it with the whole army, even though you can.
exactly, precisely, you're on the
Yeah.
ball with that. But
Yeah.
I would say that 2 Panzerschreck teams,
Mm,
because you're doing +10 points per team, so you would only maybe spend 20 points
yeah.
on Hedgerow
Yeah.
Ambush, but you've got the range to
Mm,
stop not just the tanks but the transports.
yeah.
Um,
And against
which is
certain army builds, this would be very, very strong, wouldn't it?
well,
I immediately discounted the Panzerschrecks because I would never normally buy a Panzerschreck, but you're absolutely right. They
yeah,
would be even better.
they've got the range. I mean, there's the limited infantry choices are there, and what we're really saying is it's limited access to flamethrowers.
Yeah.
Because again, there's no option on a flamethrower team. There's no option on pioneer teams.
Exactly.
So you're struggling there, but there's lots of anti-tank, and that's where I think the tank options for this selector really have to be used as anti-infantry tools.
Yes.
You you
Which
look.
which means that the Flampanzer would be maybe a good choice for one of them at least.
Yep, I would have to say that definitely. But there's so many good options in the tank selector. There's no upgunned Panzer III, sadly, which can't get it all the time.
No.
But the Flampanzer's there. It's really down to playstyle, but the Flampanzer wagon is there. I wouldn't, because it's open topped.
No, I wouldn't. But you could.
Yeah. If you were feeling really gutsy, the Wirbelwind. I've got one.
Yeah.
I do like shooting it off. It is really good. So I guess it's almost like, because you've got the 0 to 2 tank options, you could go one expensive, one cheap.
Yep.
Or you could just sort of spread it and get two middle of the roads, like that. In the artillery section, you take the multi-launcher. You couldn't not take it.
No. And you could actually, you know what you could do? You can, and this is stupid, I know, but you can build in a single platoon a 3 multi-launcher list, because you can take the Panzerwerfer, 2 of those, and then 1 Nebelwerfer as well. That's 3 multi-launchers. Which, if you want to go down that route, you could with a single platoon with this one. It's stupid,
That's
I know,
powerful.
and but that you could do that.
But it's not. You say it's silly, but it's a unique thing. That's why the selector's here.
Yeah.
There are, for a single theater selector, there are very, very few that can deploy multiple multi-launchers. That's terrible English, but there aren't. I mean, because not even the Soviets could get more than 2.
No, but you can get 3 here,
But
and that's
whereas
what
we're sitting
really
here,
makes this our number 8. That's why it's on the list in the first place, right? Because hedgerow ambush is a neat trick, yes. Double tanks is a neat trick, yes, but it is kind of limited still. But the fact that you can run 3 multi-launchers, or you could run double flamethrower tanks, that is what really makes it for me.
And for the armored car slot, you mentioned the bikes with the sidecars. That's what I would do as well.
Yeah. That's my go-to. Whenever I build a German list, I always consider that one first, and then check out if maybe there's something else that could be interesting. But the motorbike is my first choice, almost always. Right.
Yeah. Would you have any Waffen SS?
No, I don't think I would.
No.
I don't think they're needed in this. Might as well get the Panzer Grenadier rules instead, and it's other stuff that makes the list good. It's not the SS here that does the difference.
Completely agree.
Because most of the time you're not going to use that Fanatic anyway, are you?
No. Well, if you end up using Fanatic, then you're in trouble.
Yeah.
If you're in the guts of a fight and you need to use Fanatic, you're not having a good time.
Yeah. Exactly. Right. Number 7 is Japanese Pacific Defenders, the first Japanese selector in our list. We've had a lot of German ones already. So it's in New Guinea, and again, page 112.
Hope we got the page right for this one.
Yeah.
Let's find out.
We may have made a copy-paste error because the last one was also noted as page 112.
Japanese Pacific Defenders? Yes, 112. Yes. We did it.
Nice.
So, Germany and Hungary made up the lower places, but now we're getting into the
really overpowered stuff. Yeah.
So this is, as we've said, Japanese Pacific Defenders from the New Guinea book, page 112. So 0 to 1 lieutenant is required, first or second, and 2 militia squads, Imperial Japanese Army infantry squads.
Yeah.
Why is there an asterisk on that? I'm sure we'll
Oh.
figure it out. HQ is 0 to 1 captain or major. These are the additional units now. 0 to 1 medic, 0 to 1 forward observer, either artillery or air, 0 to 1 Kempetai political officer. Then there is infantry, 0 to 4 infantry squads, so militia squads, IGA infantry, IGA veteran infantry, IGA grenadiers, IGA veteran grenadiers, a maximum of 2 IGA engineer squads. Then it's 0 to 2 medium machine gun teams or IGA machine gun sections.
Yeah.
0 to 2 anti-tank teams, either anti-tank rifle, improvised anti-tank team, maximum of 1 suicide anti-tank team.
Yeah.
0 to 2 mortars, light, medium, or heavy. 0 to 4 snipers.
Oh. Oh. I'm going to need to.
Take a breath. Quick, take a drink.
Yep.
Mm.
0 to 4 snipers, people.
Or
0 to 4.
lone snipers if you feel the need.
Yeah.
You don't feel the need. Artillery is 0 to 1. You've got a range of guns here: Type 41, Type 94, Type 92, 75, anti-aircraft gun, Type 98. There's lots of silly numbers. You're worse than Germany for naming your guns. Transports and tows, 0 to 1. Vehicle, either general truck or light truck. That's worth noting. That is 0 to 1.
Yep.
One transport.
Yep.
So, special rules. This is where it gets a little bit exciting. So the first special rule is every man who can carry a rifle. With many units isolated and cut off from supplies, desperation grew for Japanese commanders to fight, blah, 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 blah. These men are represented by the rules for militia squads, so they're drawing from the support roles of cooks and cleaners and everything else. There is no limit to the number of militia squads that can be taken. No limit.
Which is insane.
It is absolutely crazy.
Crazy bonkers. If you ever wanted to build a horde of Japanese, this is the selector for you. You can keep on going as long as you have points.
There is no limit to the militia squads. Extra defenses. If the reinforced platoon is used for a defending player scenario, it receives 100 points to spend on defensive fortifications. That's subjective to tournaments. I would actually say this will never actually get used because in tournaments there
Most
are no
often
attack
not.
defender.
No.
But it is worth noting. Aerial decoy. With the positions of their defences generally known to Allied commanders, Japanese defensive troops augmented their camouflage positions with effective decoy targets. So this is specific to air observers, very much a counter to their American opponents, so it's got a nice bit of history to it. When the Allied player rolls on the airstrike chart, on a roll of a 2, 3, or a 4, it now equals the skies are empty rather than a 2 or a 3. So it reduces the chances of those airstrikes coming in, which is quite good.
It's good, and it's very thematic and everything. One thing I'll note here is the MMG infantry sections, which is kind of a weird thing because instead of MMG teams, you have MMG infantry sections, which means that you can put extra infantry in them. They can actually become whole infantry sections should you want to. I don't think you'll need it because most of the time anyone who runs this will take the 4 snipers, the 2 mortars, medium mortars inexperienced, and then a horde of militia. That would be how I would run it. What will you do?
I would take yes, the 4 snipers. Yeah, that's why we're here. The 4 snipers, yes. The 2 medium mortars, I would have them regular with spotters.
Okay. Yeah.
Just so that they can still be protected. I mean, they've got 4 snipers protecting them.
You've
They've
got 4 snipers protect you. You're not going to be sniped, okay?
Yeah, but it means that they'll get additional lines of sight from the spotters.
Yeah.
I would have at least 1 engineer squad in the 1 truck that I can afford.
Yeah.
And I would have that as I would consider as a sweeper to plug a hole
Yeah, counterpunch
And
if the enemy actually
yeah,
manages to get
if
through
they
your
manage to get
militia.
through the absolute monster of a meat shield you'll be putting down, just do the maths. How many squads can you get? You wouldn't be maximizing the sizes of them. You'd be maximizing the numbers of them.
Yeah, definitely.
Um, and
Definitely.
and
I mean, just take minimum size squads and then just pin every one of your opponents out by
yep,
sheer weight of squads.
yep,
You
and
just continue forever.
yeah, and we'll say it again during this video for your audience that remember as well, this is a Japanese list. They're all fanatic,
Mhm.
so
They're not going to go away unless you
they're
kill
not
every one of them.
they're not going to run,
Yeah.
and you're not going to have any problems moving them because they'll just charge straight towards the
Yeah.
nearest enemy.
Yeah.
Obviously, you'll have your Kempetai there.
Yeah.
The lieutenant will be there. I would I would take a good second lieutenant, and I wouldn't bother taking him in experience. I would take a good second lieutenant.
Mm?
Uh, but yeah, this is the horde. I wouldn't bother with the artillery.
No.
Wouldn't bother with that at all. Um,
Would you take unit sizes for those militias? Would you take them as like a size where you can still do some damage, or would you just take the minimum size and go full spam?
that's a good question. I would have to mix it. I
Yeah,
would take
me as well.
both
I
big
would
and
want a
small.
few that could actually damage the opponent, right?
Yeah, I would take both big and small units. Sort of 10 to 5 or sort of 12 to 6,
Yeah,
sort of thing. Just as you said, so that when one of them does arrive on an objective, they can just bunker down
yeah,
and stay there because this is the ultimate objective grab. It is a wall of infantry,
it is.
and I look. One of the reasons there's a dice cap on the Megatron 3000 is to stop this selector.
Yeah, because that's insane.
Yep,
That is just that's bonkers. That's
yep.
real. Oh, the things you can do, right?
Japan, crazy
Japan.
days.
Crazy days. But imagine just driving your tank platoon just straight through this, just tank charging every single turn because they've only got one suicider. You can just drive over them.
Yeah, exactly. But it's something we spoke about, and we'll speak about in all the videos for theatre selectors. Is that they're geared for history,
Yeah.
and this represents what Japan had at this period in time when they were on the defensive in the Pacific on the various islands. So
Yep.
yeah, wow.
Yep. Let's go to number 6, which is Into Hell from Stalingrad, page 148. Another German list here.
Yeah, back to Germany. So Stalingrad. Thank you, Warlord
Yeah.
Games, for producing such excellent books. Into Hell 148. And we have got it right. I'm very doubtful of our numbers tonight, but we've got it right.
We got one wrong
I know.
in
How shocking
20.
are
I
we?
mean, yeah.
Shocking. So, Into Hell. This is October, November 1942, Stalingrad for the Germans. And it looked like hell. So, primary selections are lieutenant, first or second, 2 infantry squads, either here infantry squads, here veteran squads, pioneer squads, or Jaeger squads. Additional HQ units 0 to 1 captain or major, 0 to 1 medic, 0 to 1 artillery observer, or 0 to 1 air observer. It's worth noting that they're split. It's not 0 to 1 observer either or, it's 0 to 1 of each. Infantry 0 to 4 infantry squads. So you've got the Croatian Legion, Jaeger squads, here infantry squads, here veteran squads, here pioneer squads, yes. Or the Schraf Battalion, Schrafbat. 0 to 2 medium machine guns, 0 to 1 mortar, light, medium, or heavy, 0 to 2 flamers, 0 to
Hose
1
them down,
sniper,
boys.
yeah, 0 to 1 sniper, 0 to 1 anti tank rifle, artillery, 0 to 1 light or medium, or a Nebelwerfer. Anti tank, it's the Pak 36, the Panzerbusch 41, or the Pak 38. Anti-aircraft, it's the Flak 38, the Flak Vierling 38, the Flak 36, or the Horch 1A with a Flak 38. Maybe.
Yeah.
Armored car, 0 to 1, it's the BMW motorbike with machine gun, the 222, the 8 Rad, or the 250/10. Tank destroyers and tanks. There's a split here, which is good. There's 0 to 1 vehicles from the Flampanzer,
Mm.
Panzer II, Panzer III. The upgun Panzer is here.
Beast.
Yep. Panzer IV. Pretty much all the markings of Panzer IV. Opel Blitz, the SD KFZ 10-4 with the Flak 38. Or 0 to 2 vehicles from the Stug 3 or the Stug G33B, which baffles me.
Mm.
Transports and tows, it's your usual lineup of half tracks, heavy field car, truck, Maltier, Kuba wagon, Schwimm wagon, etc. Pretty much the same again for your tows. The horse limber is there, and the Kettenkrad is there.
Mm.
Special selector. Assault gun support. The infantry force tasked with capturing Stalingrad were backed with several battalions of Stug G assault guns. To represent the availability of these armoured infantry support vehicles, 2 can be chosen of any configuration to take up the tank slot. So it's going back to that tank slot. You can have 0 to 1
Normal
from
tank
the
or
from
0 to 2 Stugs.
0
Yeah.
to 2 Stug 3, either B, C, D, E, or F versions. So I'm a big fan of this selector.
Yeah, I guess you would be. I know what you like to build and play. This has all the hallmarks of something that is really good for barbecue lists, supported by decent infantry with Panzerfaust available, decent tanks, um, multi-rocket launcher available if should you want that. Everything is there.
Yeah.
It's just a very, very good spread of decent units supporting a decent core of flamethrowers,
Yeah.
engineers, and flamer teams.
The key There's a few key takeaways. The 0 to 2 assault guns is exceptionally good,
Yep.
meaning that you can put, 2 big chunks of armor down with a 0 to 1 armored car. That Horch 1A, forgive me, my memory is lacking. That actually means it's on a Horch truck.
I think it does. Yeah.
So that's a mobile Flak 38. If you want it, I ah, no,
No, there are better choices and better ways
no.
to spend those points.
But you've got options on 0 to 2 flamethrowers and 0 to 4 pioneer squads. So you've
Hmm.
got it. You've got the options there.
That is 6 possible flamers
Yeah.
in the list, right?
The thing you've got to juggle though is the Jaeger squad.
Yeah.
And they're new for this book, for the Stalingrad book. They only come as regular. So it's 50 points for 5 guys. They come with rifles. You can buy the additional 5 guys with 10 points each. There's a couple of options for submachine guns.
Mm.
They're mountaineers though, so this unit treats rough ground as open terrain.
Yeah.
So they can run through dense terrain at 12 inches.
Yeah.
It also means that they can assault through dense terrain at 12 inches and they treat it as open ground, so you won't get defensive positions against them.
Exactly.
That's right.
Yeah. I don't, and again, this is one of those where they break one of the rules of the game in a way that's not overpowered, but can be situationally beneficial, right?
Yeah.
And I think this is really clever. I really like that.
And,
Um,
and it's balanced out though in that they only come as regular.
yeah,
You can only get a maximum of 2 submachine guns on them, so they've only got 2 tough fighters.
yeah,
They don't get access to Panzerfaust or anything,
no,
exciting like that. So it's there's some good choices you have to make for this selector, but they're exceptionally good.
yeah.
Um, they've got exceptionally good options.
Would you run it with a double stuck if you were building this?
It's really hard to work that out, mate.
Yeah.
It's a really hard choice. I mean, oh, well, I mean, if I'm putting the army together on paper, which I've done
Mm.
a few times, and I've never really finished the list.
Mm.
You take the naval werfer
Of course.
from the artillery slot.
Yep.
That gives you a Kettenkrad, because
Mm.
you have to take a tow. The Kettenkrad never tows the naval werfer. It
No, no.
carries a flamethrower team.
Yep.
So that flamethrower team can get through rough ground. You know, there's always at least 3 pioneer squads from the 0 to 4,
Yep.
and 2 Jaeger squads as the compulsory option.
Mm.
And then I start to struggle. There's always a medium mortar. There's always the sniper.
Mm.
Don't bother with any tank rifle. It's a motorbike and sidecar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then I do start to struggle. Would I, if I had to finish the frustrating. You'd need to
Sorry.
practice it. No, it's a great question, and it's a great selector when
It
you've
is.
got so many good options. The Daka Panzer's there,
It is.
but you only get one.
Yeah.
Yes, I will pin my flag to double Stug.
I would not, but yeah.
Oh, set up.
For me,
What would you do?
no. Again, for me,
Tell,
it's a question
tell
of
the audience
whether
what you would do. What would you do?
I would take the Darker Panther. And it's a question of I dislike relying on a single shot. Even if it's a great cannon, even if it means I can take 2 armored vehicles that can really push, and the Stugs are pretty hard. They can take punishment. Um, Even if it means that, I dislike relying on that one dice. So for me, more dice, more better, basically. I mean,
Yeah,
it comes down to that for me. But you do, of course, get the redundancy in having 2 of them, which
yeah.
so
And
it's not clear cut for me as well.
no,
It is not.
you are on record,
I
Aaron,
am.
saying you do not like the single dice roll shot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, you know, and you've put me in the basket very rightly, so that I am a toolbox player.
Yeah. You are.
So having,
And
a Ken,
that's
yeah,
also why it's so good that we discuss this, because I'm definitely not a toolbox player, right? I'm absolutely the opposite of you. So actually getting to agree on these lists and what's good and why, that's really beneficial actually.
yeah. No, it's good,
Right.
and we should probably drop in as well for the audience that we don't go in depth discussing the selectors before we present them. We argue for their position,
Yes.
but we don't have conversation as this. So this is a live
No. Yep. This
recording.
is
So if,
most of the details are done here live. So we do talk a little bit about where would we place that.
yeah,
But we both know each other's play styles. We have played games against each other as well. So we know what we like, and we often send each other lists, which remind me to send you my list for the WTC, by the way.
yes, please.
But
Spoilers.
yeah, no, don't spoil that.
No.
But so this is all done live, yeah.
Yep.
And that means that we do sometimes have this where we can put each other on the spot in the choice here.
What's next?
Next is number 5, which is the Feldjäger Regiment number 6.
Wow, I love your pronunciation, Bo. You're so good at
Uh,
it.
no, I'm not.
That's,
My
I was going to
German
say,
is atrocious. Okay.
I was definitely going to say that's got to do more with your proximity to Germany, surely,
Uh,
does it not?
Possibly. Yeah, possibly. I
Okay,
was
so
taught
with
German in school, but I'm not good at it. Right.
so
D-Day,
with
US sector.
yes, there we are. So we're back to the US. So Fallschirmjäger Regiment 6. So the compulsory choices: Fallschirmjäger Lieutenant, first or second. 2 infantry squads have to be Fallschirmjäger, late war. Who would
Mm,
have thought?
no, I didn't expect
Headquarters,
that at
didn't
all.
expect that. Yeah. So headquarters: Fallschirmjäger captain or major, 0 to 1, 0 to 1 medic, 0 to 1 observer, either artillery or air. 0 to 4 infantry squads. So it's Fallschirmjäger late war, or Fallschirmjäger maximum of 1 Fallschirmjäger pioneer squad, or maximum of 2 Fallschirmjäger scout squads,
Mm.
0 to 2 medium machine gun teams, 0 to 2 medium mortar teams, 0 to 2
Ooh.
Panzerschreck teams, 0 to 3 sniper teams, 0 to 1
Ooh.
flamethrower teams, 0 to 2 artillery pieces, light or medium, recoilless 75 millimeter LG40, anti-tank guns. It's the Pack family.
It is.
Pack 36, Pack 40, Pack 41, Pack 38. Tank destroyers 0 to 1. It's the Stug G or the Stu 42.
Mm?
There's a note here that neither of them can be upgraded to veteran. Again, that'll be for historical reasons.
Yeah.
They're just tidying it up, which is fine. Transport 0 to 1 transport per every 2 squads in the platoon.
Okay.
And it's a truck, heavy fuel car, or a Kubel wagon, and then 0 to 1 tows, truck, heavy fuel car, or Kubel wagon. So there are some special rules.
Mm.
Bear with us. So Fallschirmjäger platoon, all infantry and artillery units in this platoon must be veteran and must be upgraded to stubborn +1 points per model. And they get hedgerow ambush as well, which we've already spoken about, but it's +3 per man and it's +10 per team.
Mm.
And units that are inexperienced or have a flamethrower can't do it. So again, there's a cut and paste thing going on there with it.
Yeah. That
This,
is a lot of possibilities to double up and have redundancy in your army
yeah,
list. I can't remember. Did you read the MG teams? Can they be LMG teams or do they have to be medium machine gun teams?
they have to be MMG
Yeah.
teams.
So
Yeah,
it is the MMG, as I wrote down here. But you have the double mortar, you have the double artillery, and you have 3 snipers.
yeah.
Hot damn.
The big issue here
Mm.
is veteran.
Yeah,
Everything infantry wise has to be veteran, so the premium is being paid.
it is.
And in order to make this army work, you as a player have to be good.
Yeah.
Your units killing power is the same as a regular, but you've got them as they're stubborn.
Mm.
God.
So your
Um,
staying power is immense. You're really good at maybe especially with the selector we had just before, because you would be really good against a flamethrower heavy list, right? Because
mhm.
you would have stubborn across the board, um, which is basically what defeats flamethrowers now,
Yep.
along with fanatics.
Yep.
Um, those scout Jaeger teams. What do you think of those?
You know what? I've never really looked into them that much,
Hmm?
and I points are at a premium, and I wouldn't take them.
Okay.
I would be spending my points on the making sure I've got the Pioneer Squad,
Mm.
making sure I've got both the mortars, making sure I've got all 3 of the snipers,
Yes.
and the flamethrower team. That's where I would be
Mm.
making sure the points are spent. I would have to take. Oh, you see, you start to struggle
Mm.
because the Stug is a big point sink where your
It
points
is.
are needed elsewhere. But I think this army would need an anchor
Yeah.
to
I
to hold it around.
yeah, but I wouldn't pick the Stag. I would pick a big chunky Jaeger unit and tool them up. For my anchor, that would be my choice.
Yep, yep.
Um,
No,
and if
it's a
we were
tricky one.
running if we were running double platoons, I would actually consider doing this multiple small unit style and then just picking a lot of those scout teams and then trying to
Yeah,
outpin my opponent.
yep,
Because there are several ways you could build this, right?
yep. The great thing here, though, is with hedgerow ambush,
Mm.
that Panzerschreck team, oh mate,
Yeah, yeah.
trying to dig out a veteran, stubborn Panzerschreck team.
That sits
Oh,
that sits 13 inches in front of your Darker Steward, waiting for it to move or breathe or do anything.
Yep. Nightmare. Starting on
Yeah.
ambush, absolute
Oh, yeah,
nightmare fuel.
yeah, yeah,
And look, obviously there's ways to counter that,
yeah.
and good players will know how to counter it. But if you're taking Farsh Omega Regiment 6, you're going to have to be good.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, there's so many. There's good options. I've never. I'm not sure. I think this is played near me. I haven't seen it.
Mm,
Need to pay more attention.
yep. Right. So that was our number 5. We're going to number 4. We are nearing the top now.
Ooh.
And here we have our first Italian selector at number 4. It's the 1942 Italian Armored Brigade from Western Desert, page 109.
I think you could probably safely bet that a good portion of the bolt action audience just spat their drink out
Yeah.
that we've actually
What?
done this.
Have they lost all sanity? No, no, we haven't. This is really good.
No, we're really thinking about it.
Yeah.
So we're in Western Desert, 1942 Italian Armour Brigade. Sorry, even I think we're crazy, but we're right. I think.
We are right.
So command vehicle, it's the M1340, the M1440, the L640, with the command vehicle upgrade for 25 points, or the Semoventi Caro Comando.
Yeah.
Mwah.
Uh,
Bella. Then it's 2 tanks as the other primary option: the M1340, M1441, the L640, or the Semoventi 7518. Oh God, I can't not do it. Oh. And then your additional HQ: 0 to 1 captain or major, 0 to 1 medic team, 0 to 1 forward observer. Because Western Desert was one of the earliest books, it's got a lot of grammatical errors in its
yeah.
typing. And when it says 0 to 1 forward observer, I would always assume it is air or artillery.
Yeah.
Then there's an interesting reading in infantry. It's 1 to 3, so you do have to take one.
Yeah.
Infantry squads, regular infantry squads, 1942 Bersaglieri.
Yeah.
Yep,
I don't speak Italian either.
neither do
It's the
I.
guys with the silly hats and the feathers.
Oh, the big black feather thing. Yeah,
Yes,
those
yes, yeah.
idiots. MG infantry squads, 0 to 1 sniper, 0 to 1 medium machine gun team, 0 to 1 mortar team, light or medium, 0 to 1 anti tank rifle team, and then in the artillery section, I'm still laughing.
This is insane.
I know. Field artillery, so light. The anti tank gun is the Elefantino. Anti-tank, anti-aircraft gun, the Breda 2065 light anti-aircraft gun, the 7536 heavy anti-aircraft gun, the 90/53 heavy anti-aircraft gun, anti-tank gun, 0 to 1 anti-aircraft guns you're not going to bother with, so I'm not going to talk about them, and 0 to 1 anti-tank guns of identical experience from 47/3 anti-tank gun, junk. Armored cars, armored car and race vehicles, it's the Autoblinder 40 or the Autoblinder 41. And then tanks and tank destroyers, 0 to 2, the M1340, the M1441, the L640, the Semoventi 7518, or 0 to 1, 100/17 Lancia Row, or the Breda 20mm on Lancia Row.
Mm.
Whatever that junk is, just junk it.
I think it's soft-skinned vehicles with
With
mounted
the guns on
guns.
the
Yeah,
back, yeah.
yeah,
The platoon must include enough transport vehicles to transport all infantry and artillery units from the like it's the truck and the wheeled artillery tractor.
yeah.
It all sounds a bit rubbish, but
Nah.
special rules, iron hulls, iron hearts. The disparaging opinions of the Italian armoured forces held by Commonwealth soldiers and even their German allies, there were numerous examples of extreme bravery, initiative, etc., etc. An Italian medium or light tank with this rule may reroll any failed order test to advance or run as long as this would bring them closer to an enemy unit.
Forward! Just charge. I mean, this is
God, lovely.
this is so much fun. Um, right. You could make it a very different build, right? You could make an artillery build using this selector, um, but I don't think you ever should. What you
No.
should do is you should get yourself 4 of those M14 tanks, which are basically Dakar tanks, and then you should just charge at the enemy, drive, advance at them every single turn, just move up and shoot.
Yeah.
Um, for me, that is where this really shines. The infantry, yeah, well, they got the Italian national special rules. They're not very good, but but a fleet of those tanks just advancing every single turn.
Hmm.
I would yeah I find that would be actually quite good, especially against some of the infantry heavy lists that we've talked about. That would be actually really good.
Yeah, and that's where when we discussed the Allied theatre selectors,
Yeah,
there was no theatre selector where you could get multiple DACA stewards
no,
outside of the Soviets,
yeah.
and we looked. We
Yeah,
genuinely
yeah,
looked.
yeah, yeah. Because I mean, if you can get 4 DACA stewards, that
Yeah,
selector would definitely go in our top 10
yeah.
of the allies. But you can't. But you
No,
can here.
and that's why this Italian selector has made it as
Yeah,
far up as it has here, and that the M1440, and forgive me if my memory is not right, it's 4 medium machine guns, 2 in the hull, 2 in the turret,
yeah. I think it's 4. Yeah, 2 in the
20
hull, 2 in the
shots,
turret. Yeah,
and
and
for a reasonable price.
yeah, and I think they also have a light AT gun as well.
Correct. I'm sure that's the case.
Yeah,
Um, and then obviously we're working with good points levels here at 1250, so getting 4 of them, it should be quite comfortable.
yeah.
Uh, and I cannot remember. I do apologise to our Italian players. The auto blinder and the armored car section. I can't remember. I'm sure it's a light autocannon.
It is a light autocannon. Yeah,
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 and it'll be wheeled as well. So I would give one of those a consideration as well,
yeah,
just for a little bit of extra speed to take out the
yeah.
flanking shots of
And
enemy armor.
you're not gonna sink your points into your infantry. So if you have 1250, definitely take that auto blender. Um, there's no reason not to. And it will mean a lot more speed
Yeah,
in your platoon.
and as Bo just said there, you're not wanting to sink your points into weaker units because the Italian special rules are there. Uh, we all know what the Italian special rules are. They're not very special. As you lose units, your morale and your ability to use your army decreases
Yeah,
dramatically, very
yeah,
quickly.
yeah,
So you want to limit the one shot kills that can happen.
yeah,
So you truly have to limit the number of trucks. You'll have to protect them in the game itself.
yeah,
Your small teams, like you want to take a sniper team. You definitely want to take a medium mortar with a
mm.
spotter, just to dig out those entrenched enemy artillery pieces.
And you might need them to take objectives. I mean,
Yeah,
you might need some infantry to go and actually do stuff. But you are going to need to protect those units definitely
yeah,
because you don't want to start losing them.
yeah. I think you really want to limit yourself to, oh, look, if no more than 3 transports,
Yeah, yeah,
truly, and you want to make sure they are well hidden, uh, and used sparingly if you need to move forward
mm,
with them. Um, artillery pieces, don't take a static artillery piece because you'll lose it. That's a
yeah,
dice you'll lose really quickly.
yeah,
Um, and to be fair, there are no really good options there. As Bo has said, your main goal for this selector is to get 4 DACA tanks,
yeah,
and push them forward. If you can squeeze 5 in, we're getting into a place where your dice count might start to be impacted,
yeah,
because your a target dice count for a 1250 point list, in my view, and I'm sure Bo's will be similar, is 18.
yeah. I would prefer definitely above 16, and 18 would be my target number. Yeah,
Yep, yep,
yeah,
especially with so much armor.
yes,
Um, but it is.
And you know
Mhm.
what you can do though? You can have rather large infantry units that can walk up behind your tanks. But
But
that
you
would
still
again
you
mean that
still
you
need
would
to get a
need
transport for them. Yeah.
you'll need to get the transports. But you are going to have to spend your points somewhere. Right. Yeah.
Yep. But look, the fact that it made an Italian list even made the top 10 is just because of the raw number of
Yep.
machine gun shots this thing can
Yep.
spit out.
Yep.
If you get the first handful of dice every
You're
turn,
you're looking pretty.
yep, you can be pinning your opponents out.
Yep.
Um,
And you should be split firing those tanks, shouldn't you? I
oh
mean,
yeah, every
yeah,
time,
yeah.
every
10
time.
shots each way. Oh, that would
Yeah,
hurt.
good times.
Yeah. Right. That was a number 4. We
Ciao
get
Bella.
to number 3.
The top three.
Top 3. Battle of Tarawa. 1943, armies of
Yeah,
Imperial Japan. This is the only armies of selector that we have. It's on page 49 of Imperial Japan.
yeah, that's a good point. This is the first time,
Yeah,
and
it
as you
is.
said, the only time I think that we dip into the army book
It is.
of any of the Axis nations.
But also for the Allies, I think I don't think we actually had
Oh, we
any.
did.
Did we?
Yeah, we did. Number 1 and 2, mate.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah.
Oh, God
Mm.
bless.
Oh well.
So, the Battle for Tarawa, 1943, Armies of Imperial Japan, page 49. Um, so again, what you have to remember is that the Armies of Japan book is written many, many moons ago. I'm trying to find a publication date on it.
Long
Uh,
time ago.
2013.
Yeah.
So
10 years old.
it's poorly written in places,
Mm.
and how it's presented to the more modern books. So the minimum selection, it's 1 second lieutenant.
Mm.
It's very clear, but it's poorly worded. 2 SNLF squads, then headquarters, 0 to 1 first lieutenant or captain. So again, it actually it balances out there.
Yeah.
0 to 1 medic, 0 to 1 forward observer, artillery only. Infantry, 0 to 4 infantry squads, so SNLF squads, a maximum of 1 SNLF grenadier squad. 0 to 2 medium machine gun teams, 0 to 2 anti tank teams. This is anti tank rifle or suicide anti tank team.
Mm.
0 to 2 mortar teams, light, medium, or heavy. 0 to 3 sniper teams. Artillery is 0 to 1. This is type 94, type 92, or type 98. So it's pretty much an anti tank gun,
Yeah.
artillery piece, or an aircraft gun. And then it's 0 to 2 vehicles. This is in the tanks and assault guns, etc. So it's a Type 95 Hago light tank or a Type 2 Kami light amphibious tank. And that's it.
Mm.
Looking over the page, see if there's any more. No, that's it.
Right. So we have this on the list. For you, what is it that makes this so good?
You go to the look 3 sniper teams. I know
Yeah.
we've got a very similar um, Japanese list elsewhere in the top
Yeah.
10. That's got unlimited militia squads, but that comes at a cost of you have to kill as well as claim
Yeah.
objectives. 0 to 2 mortars.
Mm.
I see the heavy mortars putting an
Yeah.
appearance here.
Yeah. And you
0 to
have
2
you have
anti-tank.
more anti-tank than the other Japanese selector here because you have
That's
0 to
exactly
2
it.
as well.
Yep. So
Um,
0 to 2, so it's the suicide anti-tank teams that are making an appearance.
mm.
Um, and then there's actual armor.
Yeah,
People would laugh at the Japanese armor, but it's still putting 2 armor pieces on the table,
it is.
which I
And some
think
of
is
those armor
important.
pieces are actually quite good. Can you remember if you can take the Horo or the Chihas in the
No,
list?
it's just the Hago and the Kami.
Haga and the Kami. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
I'm just trying to look up something else live on air,
Mm.
just to see what the options are for the SNLF squads in terms of their equipment.
Yeah.
Anti-tank grenades, couple of submachine guns, nothing exciting.
No.
There it is. I knew there was one. SNLF Grenadier Squad.
Mm.
They've got the 3 light mortars embedded in the unit. That's the other thing I'd be taking as well.
Yeah, me as well. At least one of those for me.
Yeah, well, it
Especially
is only one. It's a maximum of one.
yeah, okay. And at 1250, I would max it out with 3 mortars in it, and then I would also go double mortar, double anti-tank suicider. I would take 2 of the tanks, two armored vehicles as well,
Yep.
and 3 snipers. Yeah.
Yep. No, very much so. But the one thing, I mean, there is lacking here is transports. There are none. You
No.
know, because again, it's very, very themed. But I guess the reason this is a little bit higher, in my opinion, than the other Japanese selectors so far is the quality of the infantry.
Yeah.
You know, it's all great for spamming inexperienced units, but there's a lot more to be said for having the option on taking veteran infantry
Yeah.
and having them supported with
Veteran
armor.
fanatics are just really, really good.
Yeah.
I mean, and especially if because the enemy, if they're not dedicated assault teams, they're not going to try to get close to you. They're going to try and stay at range. And if they do that, then you start pumping out the mortars and all of that, and your snipers start going to work. So you can sort of threaten the enemy away from the central board where you want to be.
Hmm.
I really like Japanese veterans. I must
Yeah.
admit.
In this list as well, I would almost be tempted to take the artillery observer.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I can see
Just,
that working.
I
Just
mean,
because,
in the list I would be creating, I would already have 5 forward deploying units, the 3 snipers
yeah,
and the spotters
yeah,
from the heavy mortars.
yeah. And you would,
Um,
with that, you would immediately start dominating the center of the board.
yeah,
Um, a lot of board control in this list.
yeah. I just have to
Right.
check one last thing on this selector. I really dislike trying to find Japanese units.
Mm,
Type 92. Yeah, the Type 92 is a light howitzer. I would take it,
yeah.
and I would take it as veteran
Why?
because it'll come with a gun shield, survivability
Ah, yeah, yeah,
to lock it down, to lock
yeah,
down a small area.
yeah.
Um, it's something I've experimented with in for other nations,
Mm,
veteran light howitzers, and I've enjoyed them quite a bit.
yeah,
I've done it with Americans a few times.
yeah.
God, God knows why.
Last tournament I went to, I also faced one list. It was a German list that had a veteran light howitzer. That light howitzer was really difficult to kill.
Yep.
So yeah, I can understand that. Right. Going into number 2, which is the 17th SS Panzer Grenadiers from the D-Day US Sector book.
Oh, that's a very popular book for the
It
Axis,
is a
however.
it's one of the books for if you want to go and get yourself some strong theater selectors. The D-Day US Sector and British Canadian sectors are also quite good. So, and this
I
is
think
on
this is another
page.
one of the numbers we got wrong.
Oh no,
Give me 1 second. I will consult my notes. Yeah, really sorry, everybody. We're actually going to page 146.
146. Okay, cool.
Yep. Super sorry, guys. 146 and 147. It spans 2 pages.
Right. Now,
So 7.
this is one
Sorry.
of those that for me this really takes off in these top 3, and number 1 and number 2 for me is way up there, where I would consider them possibly even better than the Allied Stalingrad and all of that at the top we had at the top. Um, right, go talk us through it,
Okay.
Alistair.
So 17th SS Panzer Grenadier Platoon. So it's primary selections: Waffen SS Lieutenant, late war, first or second; infantry squads, Waffen SS, late war squads; headquarters 0 to 1 Waffen SS, late war, captain or major; 0 to 1 medic; 0 to
Mm,
1 forward observer, artillery or air; Infantry, 0 to 4 infantry squads, Waffen SS Light War, Fallschirmjäger Light War, maximum of 1 SS Waffen SS Pioneer Squad. 0 to 1 machine gun teams, 0 to 1 medium or heavy mortar, 0 to 1 flamethrower, 0 to 2 Panzerschreck, 0 to 1 sniper. Artillery section, 0 to 1 light or medium or Nebelwerfer. Anti-aircraft gun, it's the 20mm Flak Vierling 38. 88, Flak 88, what am I saying? It's a big gun. No nonsense. And then there's a Pack 40 in the anti-tank section. Armored car, Kubelwagen, Schwimmwagen, the 222 or the 8 Rad. No bike, was a bit disappointed
Yeah.
with the lack of that. But then tanks and self-propelled guns, 0 to 2. So Stug 3, Panzerwerfer 42, SDKFZ 71 with the armoured cab, Opel Blitz with the Flak 38, the Wirbelwind or the Flak Panzer. Then it's transports and tows, 0 to 1. Your usual lineup of half tracks, truck, Maltier, Kubelwagen, Schwimmwagen, 0 to 2 tows, Maltier, Kubelwagen, Schwimmwagen, horse tow, Kettenkrad, which is really good. Special rules, any unit in this selector, with the exception of Fallschirmjäger, may be upgraded to Fanatics for plus 3 points per man. And then we've already discussed it before, but Hedgerow Ambush makes its appearance again. Plus 3 points per man, plus 10 points per team, no to flamers, and no to inexperienced units. Start in ambush, start hidden.
Again, this is a list that quite early on can put a lot of pressure on the enemy by just plumping down those hedgerow ambushed forward deployers. Really, really interesting. And again, we have a list that can build a 3 multi-launcher list.
Yeah. Yep. But this time, with the infantry units, there's options on regular and veteran. So you're not having to pay any sort of great tax to get your units on the board. Again, it's down to the player to make this work. But I'm pretty damn sure this is the selector that won the Megatron 3000.
I think it was, yeah.
I am pretty darn sure.
Yeah.
So this has got a proven pedigree of success, and it was done so with Twin Stug.
Nice.
Which is the way I would go. I would go.
You would also go Twin Stug, yeah?
Yep.
And then back it up with a Nebelwerfer and maybe 1 or 2 Panzerschrecks as well.
I would have to go both the Panzerschrecks. I would get the flamethrower team and the Kettenkrad again. The Kettenkrad being bought again for the Nebelwerfer. The Waffen SS Pioneer Squad would be armed to the teeth. These guys would be absolute a murder squad.
Yep.
Going forward, and then I would do a little bit of min-maxing for smaller veteran units to claim and contest objectives. I'd probably go for a big Fallschirmjäger unit just to play into that stubborn. But I would strip their weapons out, so I'd predominantly have them with rifles, just as a big stubborn unit to claim and contest an objective. And again, 1 Panzerschreck. Oh, actually, no, this is where I would differ. 1 Panzerschreck with hedgerow ambush, and I would be tempted to give a good-sized rifle squad hedgerow ambush as well. Yeah.
Push them up and then use them against enemy infantry or artillery units that you may want to hit in the first turn.
Yep.
I can see that happening. Yeah. And the good thing here is that what really makes these hedgerow ambush lists work, and we can argue back and forth whether this one is the best. I think this one is the best of these. what really makes them work is that you can counter deploy, right? If you buy that hedgerow ambush, you can see where the enemy puts down their units and you counter deploy. You set up your units where you know that you can reach out and touch them in a nasty way because they're already on the board. In many of the missions that you're going to play, this will be really, really powerful. I love counter deploying, really do.
And one of the other excellent ways of the counter deployment is against enemy observers.
Yeah,
You know, if you're coming across the British lists that have the artillery observer,
yeah,
if you manage to get this rifle squad deployed, you can put out quite a lot of shots against
yeah,
them,
yeah.
and again against enemy sniper teams to put the pins on them to lock them out of the game quite early
Mm,
on. So
mm,
um, yeah, it's an exciting list. It doesn't. The thing with this list is it doesn't look much on paper until you start to dig into it
mm.
and understand the synergies that can work in the careful selection of your transports. You
Yeah.
know, I don't believe trucks should be the primary transport here. You should have an armored
Mm.
transport to get your Waffen SS Pioneer squad forward,
Yeah.
and they shouldn't go alone. The Kettenkrad should be there. The lieutenant should be there. I'm sure players might get tricked into the officer tanks because I'm quite sure
Mm.
the Waffen SS lieutenant's the only German lieutenant that can come as
It
inexperienced.
is. Yes.
Yep, I would encourage players not to fall into that trap. Take him as a regular.
Mm.
Uh,
Just so you can use them better and do the snap two tricks as well.
yep,
Yeah.
yep. Um, that's good. Um, do not pay for Fnatic though. I think either myself or Bo said earlier in this video that if you're a German unit and you're having to use the Fnatic rule, you're already in trouble.
You're already in trouble. Then that
Yeah,
that
so
shouldn't
don't.
be your focus. It can be nice when you get it for free, Japanese, but it's not worth it if you're paying 3 points for it per man. That's just too expensive. Right.
Exactly. Okay, who's number one, Bo? Who is number
Eh,
one Axis power?
Da, da, da. Number one is Japan. It's the IGA Kwantung 1937 list from Empire in Flames, page 25.
Empire
Um,
in Flames, page 25. Let's hope we got the page number right.
and this is by a mile for me. This is by a mile the strongest Axis list in a good field of strong Axis lists. I will. This is the hill I'll die on. This is the best one. This is you can argue all the rest of me, viewers. You can
Yep.
like say that we're dumb, but this one I will beat anyone trying to claim that this is not the best one.
Yeah,
That's it.
myself and Bo have firmly agreed that of all the ones that have gone before, we could argue their movement. And even as I was talking about them, I was thinking this should be lower, this should be higher. But number one is no
Definite.
question. So this is the book,
Yep.
Empire in Flames, page 25. And on page 25, there are two theatre selectors. You're looking at the one on the left, if you are maybe hard with your numbers. IGA Kwantung Army 1937. So this is before Germany even, set foot in Poland.
Yeah.
So minimum requirements, one officer. So again, it's poorly written. It'll be first or second,
Yeah.
etc. Two infantry squads, IGA infantry, IGA veteran infantry, or SNLF squads. Headquarters, additional units, 0 to 2, captain or major, if you
Hmm.
would.
Okay.
0 to 2, medics. 0 to 1, forward observer, either artillery or air. 0 to 4 infantry squads, IGN scouts, IGA infantry, IGA veteran infantry, IGN grenadier squads, IGN veteran grenadier squads, SNLF squad or SNLF grenadier squad. 0 to 1 IGA cavalry troops, 0 to 3 medium machine guns, 0 to 2 mortars, light, medium, or heavy, 0 to 3 snipers, 0 to 1 flamethrower team, 0 to 1 anti-tank team, artillery 0 to 2, Type 94, so that's light artillery piece, Type 93 anti-aircraft gun, and then field artillery Type 88 75mm 92. It goes on up, but basically you've got light, medium, and heavy howitzers going on. 0 to 2 armored cars, Type 87 or the Type 92 Hokuku Go. Okay. Tanks, Type 94 Tankette, Type 89 medium tank or the SSKI. And then transports, one transport unit per vehicle. It's various trucks, limbers, mules, etc. It doesn't sound amazing when you talk about it like that, but it is amazing. Sorry, Bo, I can't hear you for some reason.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Good. Right. So what I just said, my mic just died for no apparent reason. What I just said was, what I would do, the first thing I'd do was I would go online. I would buy myself a box of Japanese infantry. I would buy myself a box of American Civil War Perry miniatures cavalry, and then I would combine the two and build the largest cavalry unit that I could possibly get, because I am getting myself some Japanese cavalry with fanatics and tough fighter, just and that range for the cavalry, that is amazing. Combine that with triple sniper, with double mortar, with double armored car, with double artillery. This is just, it's insane what you get in this selector. What
Yep.
would you do?
Everything that you just said. Get the cavalry troop, and exactly how you've described it. The Perry American Civil War cavalry. I did it for the Soviets, and
Yeah.
doing it for the Japanese would be exactly the same. Very easy process. The tank, it's the SSKI. That is the
That's the
Japanese
flamethrower vehicle.
Yeah, it's the
thingy.
engineer tank.
Yeah.
It's the engineer tank. It's got the flamethrower. Buy one.
Yeah.
It's a flamethrower tank. 0 to 2, I cannot remember if it's the Type 87 or Type 92, but one of them has got their Armour 7 wheeled with 2 medium machine guns.
Yeah.
Take them
Buy
to
it.
They're fast moving, deploy
Yeah.
your pins. When it comes down to the 0 to 2 mortars and the 0 to 2 howitzers, it's just trying to strike that balance if you want to go mediums or heavies and down to points. I think two medium howitzers is enough. And
for most armies, that two medium howitzers should be enough.
Yep.
Sorry, medium mortars should be enough. Yeah.
Yeah, two medium mortars and 2 medium howitzers.
Yeah.
All of them at regular. You'll have
Would you buy spotters for everything you could?
Yes. And that way, when you combine it with the 3 snipers that you're going to take, you will win the spotting game. You will win the forward deployment game.
Yeah.
Because you'll have 7 forward deploying pieces. So you can leave your snipers to the very end, and you can identify your opponent's weak spots and have them there. I previously mentioned the SNLF Grenadier squads with the light mortars.
Yeah.
Take a big unit, a really big unit of them to hold that center. You can easily target the 18 order dice number with this.
I think you could even you could very easily go higher as well.
Yeah, if you really needed to. The transports are there. You know, you've got the good trucks.
Yeah.
To get your infantry, the push units, as Bo always describes them, the push units to get them forward. The grenadier squads, the flamethrower teams. It's it's just the sheer redundancy in the selectors and the flexibility of them. Cavalry.
Combined with the fact that you have at least, most of the time you would have, like, for me, 2 almost Death Star-ish type units. If you're buying the Grenadiers with the mortars in it, that sort of becomes easily becomes the focus of the enemy's attention, right? And at the same time, if you have a large unit of cavalry moving up one flank, jumping from one line of sight blocking cover to another, or a hard cover, even just jumping between hard covers, once they hit, they're going to absolutely demolish all units that they're going to charge. So they will draw so much fire. And while they're doing that, your mortars and artillery pieces are just going to work on the enemy. And it's really difficult to deal with an army like this. It's really, really difficult.
Yeah, and that's why it's number one.
It is.
Without question. I mean, look, it has negatives, but it only has negatives when you compare it to late war Japan in terms of there's no cheap militia units, there's no bamboo spear fighters, there are no Kemputai officers, because this is 1937 where Japan was reliant upon proper soldiery for their victories.
The regular army doing the job.
Yep. But again, they've got that backed up with the extra equipment, the 0-2s on, mortars, howitzers, armored cars. There's a flame tank.
Yeah.
The tools are there. And look, this is an oddity of how the book is presented. It says 0-1 anti-tank team.
And then it triples out, don't it?
But it doesn't say which ones you can or cannot take. So, as it's written, you can take suicide anti-tank teams. I hate saying that, but you can take them because it doesn't say you can.
Yeah.
And that's
possibly not the intention, but
it's not the intention. We know that.
Yeah.
It's poorly written. Just when was Empires in Flame written? Let's check the front cover. 2015. So again, that is
an old book. Yeah.
That is maybe one of the last books from version 1.
I think it is, yeah.
So they're not taking into consideration how the more modern books were written. So I know that when this list was at the very first Megatron 3000, and there were suicide anti-tank teams in it because they can be taken. So it's legal, which makes it even better.
It does.
It means that you can then push your dice count and increase your anti-tank ability really quickly with a list that's already extremely powerful.
Do you remember what dice count it was at the first Megatron?
I truly can't.
No, but I would expect it to be.
There was a dice cap on the event, so it's 18. Okay. So it would be 18
so
at most.
It was definite. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but what that would do for this list, it would add the anti-tank ability. It adds the dice count, but then it frees up the points to make other units veterans.
Yeah.
And makes sure that you don't have to scrimp and save to have inexperienced mortars. You can have them as regular with spotters, and it keeps your dice count high as well.
Yeah.
It's an excellent selector, and it's quite demanding of the player using it, because you've got high volumes of infantry in units, or you should.
Yeah. So again, we have, and that's the thing for many Japanese lists, right? That you actually have to transport, and you have to move for every game. You have to move quite a lot of models. And that is not nothing. It takes a toll, especially at events. It takes a toll on the player.
And I would say more so for this type, because if you've got a bamboo horde, you're just moving blocks forward, move them forward. You're not having to think. Exactly, you don't care. You're not having to think about them shooting or what they're going to do next turn. It's just a matter of, with your bamboo people, you want to get them within 12 to charge, to fight. Whereas with this, there's thought. The cavalry, are you going to outflank them as a threat? Are they going to sneak up a flank to worry your opponent straight away? Yes, it's so many good tactical options.
But you have so many tools in this. I mean, yeah, it is a lovely list. Alistair, thank you so much again for doing this, and
Always a pleasure.
for everyone who stuck with us all through this almost 2 hour long recording. We will be back with a third installment of this series where we talk about all the lists that didn't quite make our first cut. Thank you so much for participating, and I will hopefully see you in the next one. Alistair, any last words?
Thoughts and comments from your audience are always welcome, and both you and I will respond as best we can to them on your
Always.
YouTube channel. Stay safe, guys.
Cheers. Bye.